Hello my two beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a full face of some of my favorite drugstore makeup items. So this is the look I came up with using all drugstore makeup. It is possible, you don't have to spend a ton of money at Sephora, at Ulta. There are great affordable products at the drugstore, so I wanted to share some of my favorites with you. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. First, we're going to start by using one of my favorite drugstore primers. This is the NYX Angel Veil Skin Perfecting Primer. In the description box down below, I'll have all of the prices for everything that I'm using in this video, but this is a very affordable primer. I got mine at Target and I'm trying to squeeze out the last remainder of this product. It's a little bit more expensive for a drugstore primer. I think this was maybe, I don't know, like $12. So I think that that's actually a pretty high for the drugstore. It gives me a really smooth feel on my face. It's a great base to apply foundation on top of. For foundation today, I'm gonna go in with the CYO Long Lasting Lifeproof foundation. I got this off of, I think, Walgreens, but I had to buy it online because it was not in stores anywhere near me. I love this foundation. It has a pump. The finish of this foundation is very nice. It's almost satin, but it dries down to a powder finish. As you can see, a little goes a very long way. The sponge I am using is also drugstore. This is the L'Oreal sponge. This foundation doesn't immediately have full coverage, but you can definitely build this up to almost completely full coverage. This foundation doesn't make my skin look heavy. It lasts a really long time on my skin. This foundation has a very skin-like finish, so it sits on the skin really nice. It looks really natural, and I mean, as natural as foundation can be, but the subtle glow that it gives you all over is really pretty. A little background on my skin, I do have oily skin, so I generally go for more matte foundations, but this foundation doesn't make me more oily, which I think is a big drawback with foundations that have a more luminous or dewy finish. This foundation goes a really long way and it just makes my skin look very nice and flawless and smooth, which I really like. It doesn't accentuate my texture and it's a really affordable foundation. For my concealer, I'm going to go in with the LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer. This has a brush tip thing, which I know not a lot of people are a fan of, but I really like the formula of this so I can kind of get past the applicator. I'm going to use that same sponge to blend it out. Do you see how quickly that just blended into my skin? I just think it's incredibly easy to blend and it just sinks right into your skin. It doesn't accentuate my little wrinkles right here. Like, I'm not concerned that I'm gonna have to go in and set it right away because it's going to crease. I like that it is in a little squeeze tube. It's really easy to travel with. Because this concealer is lighter than my foundation, I'm just gonna take the remainder and make a little flower thing on my forehead. Go down my nose and put a little bit on my Cupid's bow and my chin. I find that doing this helps even out your face a bit, so it's not just right underneath your eyes, that it's a lighter color than your foundation. To set my face today, I'm going to be using the LA Girl Pro Face HD Matte Pressed Powder. When I go in with brushes, I apologize, I don't have any drugstore brushes. I'm kind of a believer that you invest in your brushes and I want them to be really good. So most of my brushes are from Sigma, or I have some from Morphe. My favorite powder brush is from Too Faced. So I apologize that none of these brushes are found in the drugstore. But I think the drugstore now has some good options for brushes. I've heard some mixed reviews over the Wet n Wild brushes, but there are options like Real Techniques brushes are a good option at the drugstore. And I'm just gonna set my entire face with this. When a product says HD on it, generally that means that it's going to look good in photos, or that's like the goal of the product, is to look good in photos. And I think this is the only powder I've ever hit pan on. So that tells you something, that I really do like this product. Now that my face is all set, I'm going to take the e.l.f. St. Lucia I don't know what this is called. This is just like a little palette, and it has a bronzer and a blush in it. I actually love both of these products in here, so I'm going to go in with this bronzer. It gives me a really nice and natural shadow. It's not too pigmented. It blends out really, really nicely. I've actually heard this compared to that like really famous NARS bronzer. I think it's called Laguna, or is that the blush? I don't know. I don't have a lot from NARS, so I'm not too sure what the bronzer is. I know a lot of people have compared this bronzer to the NARS bronzer. If you're looking for a cheaper alternative, this would be, I think, a good one. I have no issues with it blending out. It looks really, really nice, and I think that if you're a beginner, this would be a great palette to start with as far as bronzer goes, because it can definitely get out of hand very quickly if you have a very pigmented bronzer. For blush, I'm just going to go in with this blush in the palette. This is a nice, really peach blush. In the pan, it looks like there's sparkles in it, but I don't notice it when I actually apply it to my skin. Now for highlight, I'm going to take this Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter palette, and I have the shade Radiant Lights. This is more on the subtle side of the highlighting spectrum, but I really like it. You can build it up very easily, and it's got almost that pink, like really frosty look to the skin. It definitely has more of a pink undertone when you apply it to the skin, but I really like it when you build it up. You can wear it and have it look very subtle, which is nice, or you can build it up. I just really like the pink icy glow that it gives me, especially in wintertime. Like, this is one of my favorite winter highlights. I always go towards more of the pink cool undertones when it is winter. I think that I can pull it off a bit better than I can in the summertime. And I'm just going over it with my powder brush just to blend it into the skin a little bit more. For my eyebrows, I'm going to be throwing it back to one of my favorite drugstore eyebrow pencils. This is the Revlon ColorStay Brow Pencil. It has a spoolie on one side, so I always just run this through the brows. It kind of puts your brows into the shape that you want them to be when you go in with the pencil. I need to get my eyebrows done. I like this product a lot because this side is the cap, and the color of the product is actually the color of the cap, so it's really easy to find your shade. Now, I bought this when my hair was a bit darker, so this is definitely a darker shade than what I have been rocking lately, but I'm gonna try and be very light-handed with it. And as you can see, this product has a slanted edge to apply, and I really like that. It forms to your eyebrow really easily, so I just go in with a very light hand. This formula can get a little bit waxy if you go in with a really heavy hand. To be honest, I have not used this in a little while, so I think the color is going to be off. It's definitely darker than what I have been doing. I have a lighter brow setting gel that I hope will save my eyebrows a little bit. And for the end of my brows, it gets a little too thick just going in with that slanted edge, so I turn it around to the pointed side and I just make that little line. So note to self, I need to go get a better shade for my hair color now. If you have any suggestions on brow products at the drugstore, I would love to know, because I feel like there's maybe just one that I have not found that is better than this one and doesn't get as waxy. So yeah, if you are currently using or have used any really good brow products from the drugstore, comment down below, let me know what they are. I'm happy to go pick them up and try them out. I'm going to be taking this Essence Make Me Brow Eyebrow Gel Mascara. It is a lighter shade, so I'm really hoping that this is going to lighten the brows a bit, maybe a little bit, but this just sets down your brows. I really like these Essence brow gels because I think that there's no sense in paying, what, $20 for an Anastasia little brow gel. similar to this. The spoolie is really small, so it fits your brow really nicely. And I just think that this is a great, cheaper alternative to spending money on the Anastasia brow gel, even though that one is really good. I think this one is just as good, and it's tinted too. This product's definitely lightening up the brows and just making them look a bit more put together. And if you are looking for fuller brows, a brow gel mascara that has little fibers in it, similar to this guy, is going to just make your brows look a bit more bushy. So let's move on to eyes. I am going to take a little bit of that LA Girl concealer on my finger and just use this as a base for my eyeshadow. I don't have really like a good eye base from the drugstore. If you have any recommendations in that arena, let me know down below. I'm just gonna go in and set that with my LA Girl powder. All right, I'm gonna zoom you guys in so you can better see what I'm gonna be doing with my eyeshadow. Now that we're up close, we can focus on what we're gonna be doing with the eyes today. I'm gonna be using a mixture of this Wet n Wild palette mixed with this eyeshadow from e.l.f. This is the shade Enchanted, and this palette is the Studio Eyeshadow Palette. I wish I did not cut my nails so dang short because now I cannot open palettes. Got it open. Here's the shades in the eyeshadow palette. I think that this is a great neutrals palette from the drugstore. The eyeshadows blend out really, really nice, and I think the formula is really good. I like the colors. So first I'm going to be going in with this shade right here in my crease, just to give us a transition shade. I am very aware that it is winter here in Colorado, hence my sweater, but I'm feeling a peachy pink vibe today, so that's what I'm gonna do. Now that we have our transition down, I'm gonna take a bit of this darker brown shade and start putting that into my outer V. I don't notice a lot of fallout with these shadows, which is really nice, which means that I can do my face makeup first. I always prefer to do my face makeup before my eye makeup. I love the fact that this eyeshadow palette doesn't have a lot of fallout. All right, so the outer V is, I think, deepened to the point that I want it. So I'm gonna be going in with this e.l.f. eyeshadow. Now this is a really cool eyeshadow. This is one of their baked eyeshadows, and if you look closely, it's kind of multi-dimensional in a way. It has a yellow sheen, but when you look really closely, the base of the eyeshadow is peach. So I think this is going to be a really cool shade to wear on my lids. I always take my finger when I'm going in with lid shades, especially with this eyeshadow. That's the color right there. I like these eyeshadows. I don't think they're as pigmented as I would like them to be, but I do really like the colors. I think they're very unique, so I make them work. And I'm just going to start building this eyeshadow up a bit. See, I think it's just such a cool shade. And when you swatch it, it seems very powdery because it is a baked product, but when you put it on your eyes, it's actually pretty pigmented. And I think this was like, what, $1 or $2? I'm gonna go back in with that darker brown shade because it kind of got lost along the way. I'm gonna go in with this NYX matte liner. I like this because the tip is so fine. It's like insanely fine. You don't get a lot of product. It feels definitely like you don't get a lot of product in there, but I'm going to attempt to use this to make a little, not wing, maybe wing, I don't know, we'll see. This is a brush tip, which I much prefer a felt tip because I feel like the brush tips just go like everywhere. They're so flimsy, and this tends to run out of product pretty quickly, so I have to dip it in quite a few times. Overall, I think this is a pretty good drugstore liquid liner. You just have to work with it a little bit. I already messed it up. This is the struggle of liquid liner. It tends to get on your lashes as well. Look at this. Oh, I'm becoming a black mess very quickly. I'm not feeling lashes today. I don't think I have enough patience for that. I'm gonna go back in with this Wet n Wild palette. That accidentally got shut. I'm gonna take a really small liner brush and just take that dark brown shade and run this underneath my lower lash line. These eyeshadows are really pigmented. I'm blending this out with actually an e.l.f. Little contour brush. So at least this brush is drugstore. I'm going to take this Maybelline Lasting Drama Waterproof Gel Eye Pencil. I'm going to be honest, it's the first time that I've used it, but I've heard really, really good things about it. That glided on so quickly. Look at that. That is immediate pigment, like right away. I hope it lasts. It seems very creamy. I just can't get over how pigmented that went on right away. Jeez. For my mascara, I'm going to be taking the CoverGirl Lash Blast Fusion. This is always my tried and true mascara from the drugstore. I'm going to go in and curl my lashes. This is not a drugstore lash curler, but they do have them. They exist, and there are some really good ones out there. Look at how that makes my lash look. I just don't know why I don't hear more people talking about this. I feel like it's such an underrated mascara, but it's so good. This mascara makes my lashes look lengthened and volumized at the same time. I'm not a big fan of when mascaras look very clumpy on your lashes, so I don't like that look, and I look for more lengthening in my mascaras, and I feel like this is a great mix of both. It does volumize, but it doesn't make my lashes look super clumpy or anything. It just lengthens, it builds really well. I do go in with a few coats. I don't want my lashes to get really like stuck together because I do go in with a few layers of mascara, and I'm gonna go in and run some mascara on my lower lashes as well. Somehow some of that peach shadow got underneath my eyes right there, and I'm not mad about it. I think it looks really nice. Now that my eyes are done, I am going to focus on my lips, and I'm going to be using this NYX Slide On, Glide On, Stay On, and definitely a Turn On Waterproof Extreme. That's a mouthful. I'm going to take this, it's a really nice neutral shade, and just outline my lips and fill them in. I'm trying to get into the habit of using lip liners just to see if it makes a big difference in how long my lipstick wears for. This is a really good lip liner. It's very creamy, and it is almost the exact same shade as my lips. It just helps me stay in the lines a bit more when I'm applying my lipstick. Now that the lip liner is on, I'm going to go in with this Long Lasting Finish by Kate lipstick. This is from Rimmel, I believe, and it has the little Kate on the side. This is a great nude lipstick. I have not worn this in a really long time, but I remember that I love the lipstick formula. It's pretty long wearing. You do have to reapply it. It's not a liquid lipstick by any means, but I love the shade. It's like my perfect nude. It has a cream satin finish. This is what the lip shade looks like. So here is the finished look. I love using affordable products. You can really do so much with the makeup available at the drugstore. There are some really great hidden gems at the drugstore. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on my future videos, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!